to the Feed You podcast, giving you the real scoop on raising your business to new heights. Expert education, inspiration, and motivation to fuel your purpose, your passion, and your profits. Here's your host, Alisa Connor.
Hello. Welcome to the Feed You podcast. I am grateful to have you here. If you are a first-time listener, thank you for joining me and thank you for finding the Feed You podcast. I come to you every week with marketing and sales funnel information, education, and inspiration, and on off weeks like last week, or maybe they're on weeks, I don't know. We get a little bit into the woo-woo and talk about mindset and shifting your beliefs around success. So this week, we are back to talking marketing and strategy, and specifically website marketing and strategy. And I want to talk to you about creating a compelling About Me page. Now, I look at a lot of About Me pages, both for clients and just in researching. And I'll have people reach out to me and ask me to take a look at their website. And the first thing I want you to know about this page is that it is actually the second most viewed page on a website. And you may be asking, okay, well, why is that? Of course, people would want to go to the homepage if they're wanting to get to know who you are, and that's, the main page of your site. But the About Me page is where they go and investigate more about you and what makes you an expert, and why that's important, and why this should be the second most time-intensive page that you create on your site, is because if you don't come across as an authority figure or somebody that knows what they're doing, they're going to go elsewhere to work with someone else, because you haven't given them enough reason to believe and trust in who you are and what you say you can do. And most people will start their About page talking all about them and tell irrelevant stories that your reader really doesn't want to know or care about. And so I want to give you some specific tips on how to make this a robust feature of your online marketing department. And you may have heard me say before, but your website really needs to be your online marketing department. It needs to be working for you 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because if it isn't, then you either have a problem because you haven't invested the time and money upfront into a website that is working for you, or you've created a website that is not attractive to the people that you're trying to attract. So that being said, let's go into some of the tips that I've put together for this episode. The first one is that when you're creating that About Me page, you really need to be addressing the problem of your subscriber, your prospect, however you want to view that person that's coming to your website. Meaning, if you make it about their problem and you become the solution to that problem, or the person that's going to help them get to the solution of that problem, they're much more interested and will read on and be more compelled to continue to learn about you. And so a way you could do that, instead of saying, I have 20 years experience in blah, 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 it could be as simple as changing the phrasing to, I have helped, 10,000 clients for over 20 years with blah, blah, blah. And do you see how that feels different? It feels it's less about you. It's more about the people that you help, making it more relatable to the people that are reading that copy. So if I can give you one piece of advice on any piece of copy that you're putting out there, whether it's an email, your website, pages, sales letters, presentations, is that the less you make it about you and the more you make it about your potential clients, your readers, your subscriber, your audience member, the better off you're going to be. Does that mean that you never talk about your products and services? Of course it doesn't mean that. Otherwise you wouldn't be in business. However, relating to their pain and becoming empathetic to how they feel about the situation they're in is going to create a bond of trust, and they're going to feel more compelled to move forward and work with you if they trust you, because it all comes down to a know-like-trust relationship. So my first suggestion in this is that you identify all of the compelling problems that your ideal client avatar struggles with. And if you have tuned into any of these episodes, you know that I talk about ideal client quite often. And I think there was an episode that I just referenced. I'm not sure. There's an episode where I talk specifically about ideal client. I'll link to it in the show notes. I don't have the episode number in front of me, but really getting clear about who that person is and knowing what their specific problems are is going to make it so much easier for you to write any kind of copy, email. I actually just got a really nice compliment this week, and I love when people reach out and respond to emails that I send. Now, of course, I have automated email series, just like most people, to save time and to still nurture and kind of love on those new people. But I spent a lot of time and energy and focused and tweaked those welcome emails that I create. And I have a series, I think there's 5 in that series. And I actually had somebody reach out to me recently and just give me a compliment about how they related so much to the character that I describe in this email and some of the nuances that they have to go through. And it's because I've done the research about who my clients are and how they feel by asking a lot of questions. So to become really clear about who your ideal client is, it starts with asking questions, to survey, to do questionnaires, to do polls, to actually reach out and pick up the phone and talk to people. And so when you go to write your copy and you have those clear answers, it becomes much easier for you to frame your experience around those answers and around those questions versus just randomly putting facts about who you are and what you've done. Because what it comes down to is people don't really care about your story. You care about your story because it happened to you. And you should care about your story. But what the people coming to your website care about is how you're going to solve their problem and how you can quickly solve their problem so that they don't have that problem and pain anymore. And so if you can remember that when you're creating this About Me page and you identify, the slew of problems that your ideal client has and deals with on a regular basis, and then how you've managed to help other people with those problems and gained experience, if you can put all of that in a finessed, beautiful, succinct About Me page, it will by far get you so much traction. So that was a lot of soapboxing. And I usually don't have this long in the intro, but I guess I really just needed to get that out. So before I go on and I give you any of the tips that we're going to be talking about, let me stop and take a minute to hear this message from our sponsor. One of the biggest frustrations I hear from business owners on a regular basis is, I need more clients. And I get it. Every business struggles with getting new clients until you know how to do it. The problem is you spend your time networking and going to events and making phone calls that don't go anywhere. You're out trying to attract people to you when there is a much easier way. Growing your email list is so important because it fills your list with potential clients who actually want to hear from you. And it gives you the ability to reach out to them on a regular basis and share what you have to offer. To grow your email list, you have got to have a great free download. Sign up for our free newsletter isn't working anymore. You've got to create a download that piques their interest, gets them to take action, and adds them to your list. Sounds easy, right? Of course it's not easy. That's exactly why I created my new free training to help you create an awesome free download. You can sign up at alisaconnor.com/create-my-freebie. This live training is going to present the 5 easy steps that I've used with my clients to help them go from hot mess marketing to growing an email list that they consistently get sales from. So you don't want to miss this training. Head on over to alisaconnor.com/create-my-freebie and sign up today. I'll see you inside. Oh my goodness, that was a long intro, but good important stuff for you to know. So let's jump right into the tips that I have you for your creating a really compelling About Me page. Number 1, you want to do some keyword research. You want to be able to go in and add some keywords into the copy that you create for your About Me page that can be searchable. And so if you want to know a little bit about keyword research, I've done a couple episodes on both SEO and on keywords, and I will link to those in the show notes. But I highly recommend, one of my favorite resources is Neil Patel. And one of my favorite resources is one that he actually created. It's a free tool on his website that will help you research some keywords that are industry related. So you want to start with something pretty generic. So say you are a dog walker, and maybe one of your keywords is harness leashes. And so if you go over to his website, I'm not sure of the URL, but I will link it up in the show notes. But it's his tool is called Ubersuggest. And I will also put that in the show notes because I don't want to spell it all out on here and have you try to write it down while you're listening. But if you go over to Ubersuggest and you put, harness leashes into the search terms, it's going to pull up a whole bunch of information on articles that have been written and ideas. And it's going to give you all kinds of content ideas. And it'll tell you, what the ranking is for that term. So those higher ranking terms, you're going to want to throw those into your About page in some unique way so that they're showing up so that when people are searching for those terms, that page pulls up in Google. So do some keyword research and weave those into your copy. The second is also to... there's an airplane going by. It's real time when you hear the airplanes going by. Oh, that was a little distracting. Oh, well, go with it. Is to subtly weave in the products and services that you offer. And, don't come out and say, join my bloody blah program while you're doing an About Me page. You may want to talk about how you developed that program, why you developed it, what it's meant to the people that you've worked with, that kind of stuff. But you can subtly weave in what you do. And then you can even do a link from that products and services, just a hyperlink over to that page. So if they want to learn more, they can click on that link and it gets them going further into your site, which is really the whole point of your website, is you want them to stay there as long as possible. The longer they're there, the more likely they're going to convert into a customer. So you're going to want to weave in your products and services and weave in some keyword research terms. And then I already talked about, weaving in the problem that your audience has and, pick maybe 2 or 3 problems max and talk about those, but then also talk about why you're an authority in fixing those problems and who you have helped previously and how you've helped them. Not specific examples per se, but, general terms. I've helped thousands of entrepreneurs grow successful sales funnels and increasing their business by 6 times revenue growth, equaling, $1 million or $5 million or, whatever your results are. And putting those in there so that it reads like they can relate to it. Like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur and I want to make $5 million in that uncertain term. So you're going to want to throw that in there. And then this is a big one. And most About pages don't have this, and it's kind of shocking, but you really need to have a call to action on your About Me page to take them to the next step of your sales funnel. And this is where I see a lot of business owners and small business owners, larger business owners, is that you don't set up breadcrumbs on your website to lead your users, the end users, through an experience on your website. So you might have them go to a landing page that has an opt-in. Well, maybe they don't opt in. There's nothing there sending them to do something else. Or they do opt in and they get to a thank you page and then there's no other direction for them to go. And so you want to continue to feed them breadcrumbs until they get to the point of converting into the next piece of your sales funnel. And so you can do that by sending them to a different piece of content. You can do that by sending them, to a different, another option in your sales funnel. So let's say they signed up for a free download. Well, maybe the next piece of that is to have them sign up for a challenge or to have them sign up for a free webinar you're giving, or to sign up for a free consultation call. Whatever that step is, and I'm not going to go too much into strategy behind sales funnels today because that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about an About Me page. But I do want to encourage you to add a call to action of some sort onto your About Me page so that you're continuing to move that reader and that visitor, that website visitor, onto the next phase of where you want them to go. And you can determine what that looks like, but you definitely want to add that in there. And I actually pulled up some stats when I was doing this, and I read this stat and it was kind of terrifying to me, but 70% of small business owners actually lack any kind of call to action on their website. And I do a lot of website research, mostly because I have certain niches that I'm really focusing on and wanting to get into, and they need a lot of help, those sweet peas. And so when I'm over there, I just kind of do a little tally. I have a little Post-it note paper on my desk, and I do a little tally of, do they have a call to action? Where is it? And most of the time it's at the bottom of the page, and it reads something like, sign up for our email subscription. Let me just tell you, you guys already know if you listen to this podcast, and I'm like, don't do that, anything but that. Give away, a free penny for every person that fills out your form before you say sign up for my free email newsletter, because nobody wants your email newsletter. No one wants it. No one. And I try to get people to understand that, but sometimes we have to go kicking and screaming into the night. But really, just give away anything of value, because it will differentiate you from over 70% of probably 90% of the people out there. So don't just put your call to action in one place on your website for sure, but even on one page. I recommend repeating it, because they may not see it the first time, or they may not be paying attention to it, or maybe they had to read on more and they don't want to have to go find it. Make it easy for them to work with you. Make it easy for them to be added to your list. And so it's okay to repeat your call to action and have the same one. Just put it on there more than one time. It's like those sales pages that go on and on. I mean, there's a lot of sales pages that go on and on and on, but if you have one button on there, there's nothing more annoying than one button or hiding the price. I actually just went on I do a lot of webinars too. I don't know if you guys do a lot of webinars, but I'm always learning. And I did a webinar and I was interested in this product, and I literally had to read every line of the sales page to finally find the price. I'm like, what in God's name? You are a marketer. Why are you hiding this? Are you afraid of this price? And so, and it was a higher price point. And so I just thought that was very interesting. And I'm probably going to reach out to that person and say, hey, you might have better luck if you actually put the price in an enroll button more than one place on the sales page. But people don't know what they don't know, but I'm sharing that with you. The more often you can put it on there, it doesn't mean be obtrusive or obnoxious about it, but don't hide your pricing. It makes you look like you're afraid to put it out there and that you're not confident. And also, if you make it hard for people to opt in or click on whatever you're trying to get them to do next, they just won't do it. And so if you're struggling with sales and you're struggling with conversion rates, it may just be something as simple as you have not made it easy for people to move through the next step with you, whether that's do business with you or move further into your sales funnel. So let's talk about a couple elements as far as this specific About Me page. One thing I find, and I just had an experience also recently, is that people get really caught up in aesthetics, and they're like, oh, well, I don't like that color. And I'm like, that's really nice, but what are your ideal clients like? Because we get in this mode of we're going to design a website because we like it. We like the colors. We like the way it looks and feels. But if it doesn't resonate with our audience, then they're not going to do business with us. And so it's really important to know who that ideal client and ideal target audience is. I use those interchangeably. I like ideal client avatar because it really makes you focus in on one person, and that person becomes real to you, and it becomes easier for you to create content. It becomes easier for you to have a conversation with that person. And that is another tip that I have for this About Me page. If you can create a conversation, like you were talking to this person about who you are and what you've done and all of those sorts of things in a very conversational tone, like as if you were at a cocktail party with them and you had just heard their story, and they probably shared examples and maybe shared, a few stories about people that they've really enjoyed working with, and you're trying to get on the same page and relate and get to know one another. If you can do that same, if you can have that same effect and that same conversation on your About Me page, it will carry you so far. So when you're looking at those aesthetics, aesthetics really aren't as important as the conversation pieces as the call to action is, as the relatability is. Yes, you need to have a clean design that lets the eyes rest and have lots of white space and make your buttons very easy to find and click on and have everything working correctly. But it doesn't matter as much as you think it does. If people want to do business with you and you are solving a specific problem for them and they can find that right away, the aesthetics are really just frosting on a really well-built cake. So that being said, some things to pay attention to is you want your title/headline to draw people in to the story. So having a title of About Us, you could do that. Everyone does it. But if you can get more clever with it and you can make it an invitation for them to learn more about you, and I've seen some really great About Me pages, and I may have to share those in the Facebook group just because it's hard to do on the podcast. But if you aren't part of that group, there will be a link in the show notes as well. But I do have a Facebook community called the Small Business Builders. And I would love for you to come over there because we do fun little things like share screenshots of great About Me pages, and I'll write up specific pieces that you can use as reference points to create your own. And I do trainings and all kinds of stuff in there. So let's see. So you want to capture their attention. You want to address their problem as briefly and as quickly as you can in that About Me page. Even though it's about you, it really isn't about you. So just keep that in mind. And then also, like, what's a benefit to them to keep reading? And so if they're on your About Me page and you're like, hey, I'm awesome, they're not going to keep reading because they don't really care that you're awesome. They care that you care about their problem. And I know I keep saying that, but I really want you to hear that. They care that you care about their problem and about fixing their problem. So as many times as you can put it in there, even better. If you have a mission statement or a promise that you fulfill for your customers, this is a great place to plug that in as well. Of course, you want to tell your story, in reference to your skills, your abilities, and the people that you help and how you help solve problems. And if you have a unique story, you can filter in here about life experience. Let your inner storyteller come out. Use an interesting image on this page as well. The best About Me pages really don't have a headshot. They have like a more interesting, like, image of the people either on that team or in that company, or if it's just a solopreneur. Don't just have your headshot up there. Put it, hire a photographer, get a few images, and just add something that makes you more personable and relatable. Or even better, add a video. Like just a, hey, how you doing video? Thanks so much for stopping in. Because people enjoy video, and I think that when you have a video and people can see your personality and see your facial expressions and your the way your eyes light up and all that kind of stuff, they're more willing to give you a chance and trust you. So let's see. So I covered, tell your story, talk about the problem, talk about the results that you get for your clients, that you've had for yourself, because this, usually businesses start because you've had success for yourself first, and maybe interweave both of those together. And then another great way to tell your story is to tell the before before you started your business or before you started helping people, or maybe you have a favorite client and what their life looked like before, and then what it looked like to work together a little bit, and then what their life looks like after, or what your life looks like after. You figured out your skill set, your businesses, your services, whatever system or formula that you've created. What's the before and what's the after? And then bring it all back around and talk about why that matters to the person reading. Like, make it relatable to, so I had all these issues. I started my first business and I finally went and, figured out the system through tons of research and trial and errors and all that stuff. And if I did it, I can help you do it too. Or I now know the system and I can show it to you. Or you can do it by following blah, 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 blah. So make it applicable to why they would care, is what I'm trying to say. And then, of course, you always want to add a call to action that leads them to the next step of your sales funnel. I talked about that a little bit. And lead them into whatever that might be. Download, webinar, call, something to get them going. I don't know that they're really ready to purchase a product at this point, unless it's a pretty low priced product. And you've shown, the one that comes to mind is some of those 30-day planners that are pretty low priced. You're talking $20, $25 max. And your About Me story has shown the results of using that planner and how effective it is. And you may have a cart button for your call to action. So get yours today. But that's all going to depend on, what type of product it is, and definitely price point. So another key ingredient that people leave off of this page is testimonials. So your About page is really a great place for you to add testimonials, because you're telling these stories and you're showing the transformation for not only your business, but for your clients' businesses, and showing your expertise. So why not do it the 1-2 punch and put a testimonial on there from somebody that you have actually helped? And with that, I highly recommend not having a testimonial page. It is a much more effective use of those testimonials to kind of sprinkle them throughout your website. So no matter what page is being visited, they're seeing some proof that you actually do have authority, that you do know what you're doing, and that you've helped people. So make sure you add a testimonial, and it's even better if you can have a testimonial that says, hey, I was here and now I'm here after working with this person, because it's going to illustrate everything you're sharing with them in your About Me page. And then the last tip that I have on here is to focus on teaching. Talk about your experience, yes, but relate it to your customer's current journey. And this is especially true if you're trying to run an online business, because you want to make yourself relatable to their pain, their struggle, their frustration, and having been there yourself is really the best way to relate to that. I was here and now I'm here. And there's hope for you to be here too, because I did it. Simply because I've been in your shoes and now I've made my way to here. And so offering that piece of intel and inside scoop into, your journey will make you very relatable to your customers. So if you can just throw that in there and share your lessons and teach them, in whatever way you can make it relatable about how you went from point A to point B, and relate that journey to them. So some other things to consider, and a lot of these are just neutral for your website tips, but I always like to bring them up because I don't think that most people are aware of how these factors impact not only your search ranking, but your user experience. And I have an episode coming up, let's see, in 2 episodes, I believe in 2 more episodes that I'm going to be talking about your customer's journey on your website. But just as a preface to that, some things to consider while you're working on that About Me page are your website page load speed. And I did an episode on that previously and have done a few Facebook Lives, but you really need it to be loading in under about 4 seconds, 3 to 4 seconds. If it's longer than that, you need to make some adjustments and get it loading quicker. You need to make it really easy for people to find what they're looking for on your website. There's my poor sweet peas that have these never ending menus. Like, they're so long. I'm like, 1 or 2 things is plenty, because you want to keep people focused and make it easy for them to find the things that are really important for them to find and to get the information they're looking for. So think about it from that perspective. And then as you're choosing colors, you might want to take a look at color psychology. I think I did an episode on that earlier in the podcast. I'll have to link to that as well. But there are certain colors that will make people feel a certain way, that bring about certain emotions and will incite different actions. So if you're thinking about what colors to use on your website and specifically on this page, take into consideration what you want them to do. So if you're wanting them to take action, you probably don't want to have just a really neutral black and white button. You want it to pop so that they click on that and actually, do something to move forward and to take an action. I talked about adding a video, and I talked about different design elements and keeping your end user in mind when choosing those. And then if you're going to say you have a team and your About Me page is more about the company, and you're creating this About Me page that's just a general overview of the company, link to the professional bios of the people on your team on a different page, and try to make those really personable and interesting, and kind of use a lot of these same tips to tell the story. I've seen this done poorly, semi-poorly, and very well. And there's a company I'm thinking of right now off the top of my head that they've tried to make things personal, and so they've allowed their companies to connect their Instagram feed. Well, what's popping up is like not business related at all. And so it's not, there's no connection there. The connection is lost. They're talking about all of their personal stuff that's happening on Instagram, and making them relatable as a human, but not making them an authority figure on why that person would be coming to the website to begin with. And so there's a fine balance that needs to be created between being personable and also remaining an authority figure in the space that you are competing in. So keep that in mind. But it's always great to keep information to a minimum on a page. Like, you want your audience to be going to a page for a certain reason. And if they're wanting to find a particular team member, then, create a learn about our team link and have that be on a different page. This About Me page really needs to be about you as an individual, if you're an entrepreneur, or you as a company, and how you help your customers succeed. So that's what I've got for you this week. This was a very in-depth training lesson on that About Me page. I hope you've gotten some great takeaways from it. Again, I will have very comprehensive show notes. You can find those at alisaconnor.com/54. And there will be lots of links in there for all the different things that I referenced. Next week, I am talking about not using inside language. So kind of keeping with that copy theme, really directly talking about how using inside language will actually drive your customers to your competitors, which is not what we want. So Tune in for that. In the meantime, have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Take care. Just a reminder, don't forget to sign up for my free training to create your irresistible download. Everybody wants a great free download. Why shouldn't you have one too? Grow and build your email list so you can get more clients by joining me on my free training at alisaconnor.com/create my freebie. I'll see you soon.